because I didn't see you do it last time. Okay.
All right. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm
Good.
currently in finals
Uh-huh.
in college, but it's going all right. So far, so good. What about you?
Good. Nice T-shirt you're wearing.
Thank you. I like flower designs.
It suits you very well.
What?
It suits you.
Oh, I've been told that.
Yeah. Yeah. It really. Oh, so other people notice too, huh?
Yeah. They tell me frequently.
So what should we work on today?
Okay. I still have, I I still have some questions about the Alexander technique in general. So, can you apply this? You can apply this basically to everything porn related, everything body related, right?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And I just wanted to ask you something a little bit more personal. What
Uh-huh.
is when you discovered the Alexander technique? How much did it help you? What were your problems at the beginning?
For me,
Yeah.
um, first when I was 18, so that's 18 years ago now.
Okay.
Um, I was I tend to force myself to practice too much. So, like, well, when I was 18, I was in high school, so I didn't have so much, and I was in the school band, and school bands are really kind of popular and very serious in Japan. So I didn't have so much time to practice for myself, but still, I tried to squeeze all sorts of times into practice. But anyway, I tended, I still do tend to get kind of too serious. So kind of combination of that sort of mental stress and not enough rest, I started to get very tense. And also because I felt like I wasn't having enough time to practice, I was kind of starting to feel a little guilty. You know, teenagers tend to kind of think absurd things. So the other thing I started to do was like if I was looking for things that I could make sure that I was doing right. And one of that was posture. So I wanted to kind of make sure that I had a good posture, at least.
Hmm.
But the problem was that I didn't know what exactly a good posture was. So what I started to do was kind of sit like that all the time, pulling my shoulders backwards and then over straightening my spine all the time. So then I started to get some heavy pain between my shoulder blades, which just didn't go away. Um, so that summer was pretty difficult, but that was when I already knew about the Alexander technique through books when I was 17. It sounded very interesting. But a year later, when I was having problems with my back, I decided to go for a lesson. And that's when I had my very first lesson. And it helped with my back pain. Um, but it wasn't quite a lesson that gets applied directly to horn playing. Oh, did you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
So I think I did only one or two lessons then. Then and then I kind of forgot about it for a while. And then the next year, I went to Germany to study at a music college, Essen Folkwang music school. And then what happened was that my teacher back then kind of did a unnecessary embouchure change for me. And then, so I just couldn't play at all. I lost a lot of my abilities. And then the habit of trying too hard came back. And now I had a lot of time. Music schools in Germany, playing major students really have a lot of free time. Different from America or Japan. I had a lot of time, but I couldn't play at all. So I then tried to at least practice a lot so that I felt good about myself. And then I started to practice like 5 or 6 hours a day.
Whoa.
That was when I was 20. And then within 2 or 3 months, I started to get the same kind of back pain again. But this time, there was no real reason to stop. You know, I had time. I was in a music school. I thought I should practice. You know, I couldn't ability-wise, I wasn't able to play at all. So I was feeling bad about myself. So I was trying to practice a lot. So I kind of went down that road, and then so like within 4 months, it was so uncomfortable. Not only when I was playing, but even also when I wasn't playing. It kind of came to the point all the way to where it was like, you know, if I wanted to play the horn, I could do it only for a short time. If I do it for an extended time, it wasn't about playing the horn anymore. It was just about bearing pain.
Whoa.
And so that's when I started to kind of come back to the Alexander technique. And then I started to take, there was some Alexander technique class in the school. Useful, but again, it wasn't directly applied to the horn playing. So kind of a year or so went by. And my back pain was getting better. But my horn playing was still not really good. Or I didn't feel much improvement. So I was thinking to kind of quit school and quit the horn altogether. So I was in a pretty bad shape, but I thought for myself, well, is there anything that I haven't done yet, but I could do? And that's when I noticed, all right, maybe there's some horn playing Alexander technique in Europe. So I started to look up and send emails to Alexander technique schools in Europe. And then I found out there were 3 professional horn players in Germany who were Alexander technique teachers. And I started to take lessons from 2 of them. And that's when, that's really when they were like kind of my horn teacher and kind of my Alexander technique teacher. And that's when I started to really feel some improvement. Yeah, so that's kind of my history. So it was when I was 21 that I really started to integrate Alexander technique with my horn playing, thanks to 2 of the teachers.
Okay. I ask this because I have seen lots of changes in my playing since we began having lessons.
Yeah.
That's, I don't know, I've been with many professors and it's not the same, you know, it's different, the approach.
Yeah.
And I think it's more practical. I do like the Alexander technique a lot, now that I have tried it.
with the well, Alexander Technique teachers are focused on actual change and improvements. So it's about moving forward.
Yes.
And on the other hand, we don't guide musicians to a specific musical style or musical end. That's what music teachers are
Right.
probably where the difference
Yes. Yes.
are. Yeah. I mean, when I first went to music school, I thought normal horn teachers are supposed to help students to make real improvements, but I figured out that that's not really the case.
Yes. That's what I mean. That's
Yeah.
musical. Their musical advice is really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But sometimes the physical advice, I think it's based on their experience,
Yeah.
and it's probably not the same as mine.
Yeah. It's not. Yeah. You need to analyze what the student is doing and kind of make an assumption what's going on, and then come up with a hypothesis or a theory, and then create a new plan and check if that new plan works. And if it doesn't, you go back to observing and analyzing.
Yeah.
Observe, analyze, kind of hypothesize,
Kind of the
experiment.
scientific method.
Hmm?
Like the scientific method, more or less.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Okay. That's great. I do like it. Okay, so the practical thing I wanted to talk about is big leaps. I think we've covered this a little bit, but especially in in pieces like Adagio and Allegro,
Yeah.
like from C to C.
Yeah.
I know that is something that has to be built up slowly, but I do think I have enough lip strength to do that leap.
Yeah.
I have enough air, but I feel like sometimes I do get it, sometimes I not, and I don't like that. And still, the C comes out really sounds, yeah, tight.
Okay. Where you can start wherever you want to.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I see some.
Yeah.
I see that your angle has slightly changed compared to last time. Did you work on it or?
So it's not intentional. It's just
Good.
what comes out when I try to do this leap.
Okay. I think that's good. It's good. Um. So let's play a middle G to a higher G on the F side of the horn, going through each of the overtones, slurring. Yeah. And then now B flat on the B side of the horn.
From here?
Yeah. Okay. And apply just a little more pressure towards the higher notes. Good. But the final B flat, you took away the horn a little bit. Good. Very good. And then now B natural. Yeah. What I noticed is that so that must be the 11th natural overtone and the 12th. The final one is the number 12. And then the one before is 11. So when you go from the 10th to the 11th and 11th to the 12th, instead of applying more air pressure and mouthpiece pressure, still you're relying on aperture pressure. So using a little more air pressure and mouthpiece pressure will probably make the whole process a little more consistent. So let's try again. Good. Yeah. That was very good.
Okay.
Although you didn't reach the B natural, the note before that had a very good core to it. So it's about bringing that core to the highest note too. So let's work on it maybe 2 or 3 more times. I think you will start getting it. Yeah. Yeah. That here's probably the reason why you're feeling some trouble getting up to the high C.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's play the B natural, the highest B natural. Play it. Yeah. Good. And little more pressure. Begin with a little more pressure. Yeah. That's the way you want to kind of be when you reach B natural. So kind of keep that in your mind, and then let's go up from the middle B natural. Good. Yep. And then C. Yep. Good. Ta-da! Yeah. And then in your well, really sing the notes in between. Yep. Yeah. Let's do it on the F side of the horn. It's going to be a little high, but I think you can do it. You're going to be more notes in between. Press. Good. Now, on the F side of the horn, Good. Nice. See? So if you can do it on the F side of the horn,
Should be
the
easier.
only reason it doesn't work on the B side is just probably a very minute thing. It's probably not a big deal. Probably what's going on is that the number of the natural overtones in between your singing is probably one or two are missing when you are on the B side of the horn.
Okay.
This happens a lot, like the beginning of the Strauss, when people are not able to get that higher F. It's often because they are missing the E flat in between. They're thinking da 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 dee, but there's actually da 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 dee dee da dee dee dee. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I'll try to do like that.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And pressing a little more. Yes. Very good. That's it. You got it. That's it. So that was going.
Okay.
If you want to do that, it's probably better to tongue the high C.
Okay. No, but I'll try just slur.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. Do you want to decrescendo like that?
Yeah, I usually hear like the top C's, the culminating point, the climax.
Yeah. So you want it to be big?
Yes. Not
Then
fortissimo, but forte.
do you notice that you're actually doing a decrescendo slightly?
I'm doing a.
You're doing a decrescendo a little bit. Do you notice that?
No.
No? Huh. So probably you're kind of backing off a little bit.
Probably.
So you've been able to play it no problem on the F side of the horn. And like 2 or 3 times ago, when you went through the ladder, you actually reached the top C no problem. So ability-wise, you can play the high C, pretty easily. I mean, not easily physically, but you can get a pretty thick, strong high C. So the final thing, again, singing the notes in between, pressing. But for the high C, you really push air. Yeah.
Okay. I'm skipping overtones.
Did you go from the F horn just now?
No, it's just
No.
B flat to B flat.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I used the F side, sorry.
There you go.
Yeah, that was better.
Yeah. Yeah. So probably you can play around, like playing that only that part on the F side of the horn will be fun for practice.
Okay.
And let's do your original way, which is from the F to the B horn, the lower C on the F horn, the higher top C on the B horn. But for the top C, really tongue pretty strongly. Da. Press tongue. And yeah, that's one way to do it. There are plenty of great players who play like that.
Sorry, couldn't hear that.
There are plenty of great players.
Oh yeah,
who play like that. That actually there's no slur involved.
Okay. And so I did feel like I caught the middle C before playing the top C. It felt like
yeah.
Shouldn't it be more connected? Tongue, but connected.
Well, if there's no break in between, it is going to sound pretty connected. Da da, because it's a octave leap. Even if the articulation is slurred, tongued, it's going to sound pretty connected. Da da, even singing like that. I'm saying ta and ta, but it sounds pretty connected, right?
Yes, it does.
So it really becomes a matter of choice. Depends on what you like doing. And the other variation on this is playing the top C on second and third valve on the B horn. Have you ever tried that?
No.
No?
Probably came out a few minutes ago by accident. Not in the lesson, before the lesson.
So open F, so the middle C, open F, and then the high C, B flat, second and third valve. Then you might be able to get a little more of a slur.
Okay.
Yeah. Wow. That was nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
The slur felt really connected. That's good.
Yeah. And the reason is that switching from open F to open B, the length difference gets pretty great, the length of the pipe. So that's why it was difficult to kind of slur the two. But from going to open F to second, third valve B horn, they are actually the closest length.
Okay.
So that's probably why the slur worked better that way.
Okay.
So there are multiple ways to play that part. Yeah. When I practice, I actually like, for example, playing the lower C, well, the middle C on the B flat open, B flat horn, and then kind of gradually lifting the thumb as I slur up, and then gradually pushing the second valve on the F horn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a bunch of tricks.
Okay. And the other thing about this excerpt is when I try to play it in context, it's even harder.
Yeah. You
So
mean from the beginning, right?
no, from here.
Yeah.
It gets a lot harder
Yeah.
for me to get to the IC.
Let's try making, well, kind of keeping the pressure, the mouthpiece pressure, the priority. So while you play, kind of let's experiment with paying the most attention to a firm contact of the mouthpiece with your embouchure. And then when the high C part comes, just really work hard.
Okay.
Yeah. Almost. You, the only reason you didn't get the high C is because you backed off.
Yes, I
Yeah.
backed up.
Yeah. Mouthpiece pressure. Yeah. Good. Just now you used the F horn to B horn tonguing technique, right?
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Maybe that works good on your horn.
Okay.
Slightly. Yeah.
About this, I do have one more question. Two questions. The pressure thing keeps like confusing me a little bit. How is doing more pressure, lip pressure, good for my playing? I think I've been told the opposite all my throughout all my since I started.
Yeah. Yeah. But what works. So
Yes. Now that using more lip pressure also puts a question in my head, and that's it. Um, using more pressure means that I can play for a shorter time. I can't play for so long if I use more pressure. Is that
well,
right?
no.
Okay.
No. Well, pressure is necessary.
Yes.
So doing the necessary work is the most helpful thing. So if you're doing what's necessary all the time, that will, both when you're tired and when you're not tired, that will always be the most useful. It will allow you to play better than not doing what's necessary. Of course, it sounds stupid, but the higher the note is, the stronger the pressure is going to be. Therefore, the more you play high, the endurance will be shorter.
Yes.
And that's probably something pretty obvious for you. So people do talk about not pressing too much, right? But when kind of built up, established professionals, when they talk about it, the context is that they make sure that they don't rely on pressure to get the note, to get the note. So you need air pressure as well. So if you're starting to relax your air pressure, not working in your torso, then you will start to kind of pull your embouchure sideways, pinch your lips, press even harder. So a lot of the work will start to be above your neck. If that's happening, endurance will really get back.
Okay.
So it's about diverting the effort from above the neck to your torso.
Yes.
Yeah.
Air pressure and lip pressure should build up together, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Without air pressure, it towards the beginning of today's lesson, when you were playing the B natural overtone series, there was a point where you reached the 11th overtone, but you couldn't go to the 12th, so the B natural.
Yes.
That's where you needed a little more air pressure. That wasn't about mouthpiece pressure. You were able to go to the 11th over note because you were having good mouthpiece contact.
Yes.
And then you were trying to go get to the B natural, but the sound remained on the 11th note. But the quality was good. That was because you were having enough air pressure for the 11th note and good mouthpiece contact, but not quite strong enough air pressure for the 12th.
Okay. So, if it had been the opposite, if I had the right air pressure but the wrong mouthpiece pressure, how would it sound like? How would it reflect?
It will sound too open. Like that.
Oh, yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if there's too much pressure, it will probably sound a little too condensed. I won't say tight, but really kind of hard. And maybe dark. Maybe a little dark.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
One more question about this. I have seen people, the people who usually have a naturally good, better sounding high register.
Yeah.
What's the usual, or I don't know, what difference have you noticed between them and the people who usually have a better lower register? If you have noticed something in general.
It's hard to say because there are people with great high register who are actually more comfortable in the low register. So I guess it's easier to talk about people who are really good in the high but pretty bad in the low.
Yeah.
in that case, because they've been good in the high register, they have not had to ever really play fourth horn. They were never asked to. They were always asked to play like first or maybe third.
Yeah.
So often they have not really had the kind of need or chance to develop and work on their low register. And there are two major ways to not really go down, but to descend a note. So bring the note lower. The more popular and more natural, but not useful way is to just relax your embouchure. And it's a very natural way to play, but it really won't work in the low register. So in order to be able to really kind of have stability and flexibility in the low register, you need to keep your muscle tones in the embouchure, but still be able to open the aperture with your muscles. Yes. So it's a more kind of sophisticated muscle training, I would say, that is needed. And you need patience to develop that. You need to be listening to your sound. You need to observe what kind of monitor your sound quality doesn't change between your middle register and low register. And you need the patience to keep your muscle tones in your embouchure. So at first, it's actually going to make it more difficult to play the lower notes. Yeah, that's my hypothesis. So those who are really good in the high register, sometimes you see that they're really bad in the low register, but that's only because they haven't really had to be patient and trained.
Not necessarily something physical that makes them only play good there.
Yeah. And there are some natural low horn players. And the natural low horn players have, for some reason, kind of noticed that they need to keep their muscles working here in their low register, probably very, very early in their career. So I believe that they too had to go through dedicated training for their good low register. But maybe they somehow luckily noticed that early on. Yeah. So I would say they're natural high players, but in the true sense, probably all good low horn players have trained themselves to be good low horn players.
Okay.
So, in other words, low horn playing is not so natural compared to high. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't mean that high is easy. It's just a little more natural. Because for high note playing, it's keeping good contact, muscles and muscles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I've had to build the strength and the endurance needed to play the high register better. But maybe 2 years ago, I wouldn't have played a high C.
Right.
Probably.
Right.
So, but the lower register was always easy for me.
Easy.
From the beginning. So I just want to get to know where's the origin of that.
Well, probably the answer you will have the answer because I don't know your past.
Of course. I'm trying
But,
to search.
yeah. Maybe your environment was that there was more kind of psychological pressure to play the high notes, and that was not helpful. So you were able to kind of play and practice with more ease and joy in the middle and low register. So maybe you had a better training environment for your lower register when you were young. Maybe.
Okay. Okay.
So your original technique for playing high, you had one, which was taking the pressure off. Or well, in general, you weren't applying much pressure, but you were mostly trying to get the notes out only with your lips, like that.
Yes.
That was your main and maybe only technique. So, and that without mouthpiece pressure, that without air pressure, probably, G was probably about the limit.
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. So, of course, we need to kind of close our aperture the higher we go. But like today, you were doing that in a much more efficient way.
Yeah.
You didn't have to engage your whole face to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. So probably what happened was probably muscles kind of around your lips were able to be more of a support and kind of holding things. And then closing the aperture part was probably going on more in a much smaller area.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a result of using more air pressure and having firmer contact and the kind of few small things we did today.
How much time do we have?
We are actually done.
Okay.
Is there a burning question?
It's another passage similar to the one I saw before. I just want to check if the same theory applies here.
Yeah.
I got the
Yeah.
I still need to study this passage a lot, but I wanted to quickly check on it.
This piece was in D or in E, right?
What?
This piece is in E or in D?
In D.
D, and it involves a lot of...
No. This one is, I think this one is in E. The second concerto is in D.
So this one is in E probably.
Yeah.
Terrible for modern horns.
Yes. Yeah.
Did you know that C sharp you can often play on the first valve?
What? G sharp?
The C sharp?
C sharp. Oh, yeah. No.
Yeah.
It does come flat.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, but I don't...
The phrase before that. Ta-da-da-da-pa-pa-pa. Yeah.
That's easy. Yes.
That's kind of a trick.
Thank you. You seem to know lots of these tricks.
Well, you will end up knowing a lot.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, anyone who's been like a professional for like more than 5 years start to really acquire a lot of tricks
Yeah. Okay.
out of desperate need.
Well, thank you, Basil.
All right. So we will meet in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, right?
Okay. See you then.
See you. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.